Brexit is a more powerful word than remain, no?
Yeah, well, that's why we said, please stay. You know. But Brexit, and of course, behind Brexit was the best slogan ever invented in political campaigns, taking back control. I mean, can you come, and we are here in Barcelona. Is there a better slogan? I always like to say, look, you know, I have an 18-year-old daughter, and when she slams the door of her bedroom in my face, she's taking back control. Every adolescent and parents of adolescents understand that taking back control is very important. And of course, it's beyond kids and family. We all want to, you know, control our destiny. It's a most human thing, and especially in this globalized world. We want to know that somehow in our lives we have the dignity to control what happens to us. And whether it's that we have a problem with Brussels, or we have a problem with Madrid, or we have a problem with London, you know, we prefer somehow, many of us, to control our lives. So in that sense, you know, I totally understood the Brexit sentiment. And when I heard this slogan for the first time, I had a sense, a very strong intuition, that probably the Remain side would lose.
And that's why they won.
Then that's why they won.
It's not for immigration. Somebody told me, no, well, the main problem here is immigration.
Immigration, first of all, is a variant, an element of taking back control. Because then taking back control of what? Well, one thing is our border, who comes in and out. But for many Brits, I think, who voted Brexit, and to this day who will continue to vote Brexit one way or another because they vote Boris Johnson or whatever it is, you know, it's control, not necessarily a xenophobic anti-migrant. I don't feel that. There's a small minority. Very often it's control because they want, you know, a place in the school for their kids or a bed in the hospital. So it's a control of their access to public services. And they feel that there's this competition and the state is not good enough to build enough public services that as many as basically 2 cities of Oxford, this is where I live, every year need to be built for the migrants from the rest of Europe, the free movers from the rest of the EU. So, you know, yes, in many places, British citizens felt that they were losing control of their way of life. And I don't think someone should, you know, we should have contempt for this. I really don't believe that we should just reject them as ignorant or xenophobic or...
So it's not an identity problem?
Well, I don't know what you think. I mean, you tell me, because in a way, for me, it's not very different in Britain, in Spain, in France, or elsewhere. It's a kind of mixture. When you feel that you lose control over your life, there's too much precarity, maybe you just appeal to material condition. I'm poor, I'm unhappy. But maybe you feel, well, it's something deeper in me. It's my local identity. And so some people, but not all, will appeal to an identity. Some English people will say, well, I want to be English, so we know Brexit is also English nationalism. Yes, there is identity in the picture, but not only.
Not only. And nostalgia, this nostalgia that we could see in series like Downton Abbey, for example, the old days of the British Empire. Yeah.
It's there in a certain generation, among older people.
The ones that voted, or the old people.
Yeah, although, you know, it's interesting that the voters for Brexit, yes, the young people in their great majority were Remain, the older people were Brexit, but the older, 85, 90, were Remain, because they remembered the war, and they don't have nostalgia for the war. And yes, there is a tranche of people who have nostalgia. And by the way, many of us like Downton Abbey, and we're not nostalgic for the Empire or for that past. We just think it's really cool because they have great, you know, dresses and everything.
Rich people and all these things, yeah.
But Empire nostalgia, I think you still have the embers of Empire nostalgia in Britain. But first of all, in the generation of my kids or my students, it's really not there. And even in their parents, you know, some do, some feel that, yes, there is this sense that Britain was great and Europe, whatever Europe means, was not enough reconnaissant, you know, grateful for what Britain did during the war. And so when you have the film Dunkirk and all of this in the background music of Brexit,
look what we did, and
look what we did, and now you look at how you treat us. And we were just asking for a bit of an emergency break on migration because we were too attractive, and here you are, you know, you're basically forcing us to get out. And although we saved the continent, and you know what, it's not entirely false. You know, Britain did play an important, super important role in the war. And so, but of course, the empire nostalgia is interesting because, of course, I come from France, and here in Spain, we have all over Europe variants on the echoes of empire. Sometimes we were on the other end of empire, like Ireland or Eastern Europe. And us, I think, in the EU, in Europe, we still have to deal with our different memories of empire.
That's interesting.
Collectively.